I'm 17 years old and I don't know what I want to do with my life. I wanted to be everything, from a cake decorator to an illustrator to a florist, and now I want to be an animator. In fact, throughout the course of writing this speech, I've changed what I've wanted to become like at least 6 times now. I think I've honestly lost count. Although this may be due to my general indecisiveness, there must be some underlying factors, right? You may be thinking she's 17, she's young, and has her full life ahead of her. Why is she worrying about what she wants to be now? Well, as much as I've heard this kind of advice from my parents, peers, and teachers, there will always be this anxiety in an unsure future of success. Now, you may have noticed that all the things I've wanted to be in the past happen to involve creativity or the arts, which may be the main reason that I don't know what I'm doing with my life. I'm given advice, told to do what you want to do. Do what you love. Do something you wouldn't mind waking up to do every single morning. But then I'm told that I'll be unsuccessful, or worse, the epitome of the starving artist. I'm told to keep it up as a hobby, told not to pursue what I truly want to do. And I'm torn. Should I go ahead and cultivate a career in the arts, or should I get a job that I don't feel passionate about? And I'm absolutely certain that I'm not the only one to have felt this kind of hesitance. Now, don't get me wrong. I can understand why the people who care about me could be concerned about my future, especially since a third of visual applied artists earn less than £5,000 a year from their creative work. The ACS also shows that of the 2 million art graduates from the United States, only 10% use their primary earnings as working artists. And don't even get me started on how 7 of the top 10 most expensive institutions in the United States are art schools. Hearing all of this, I can understand why not many people would want to pursue their creative subject. However, times have changed. There are more artists now than there have ever been before, and rates of self-employment and micro-businesses have increased by 40% since the 2000s, and will continue to grow. Artists are sustaining themselves through sponsorships, social media, commissions, using every resource they have to their advantage. The issue is that when people think of art, they often think of fine art, such as Leonardo da Vinci's Mona Lisa or Vincent van Gogh's Starry Night. However, the arts are no longer limited to oil paintings. Art is now this broad umbrella term, ranging from everything to fashion, to video games, to movies and theater and music, and I could go on and on. I could go on and on about how artists are discouraged, and I could go on and on about how the arts are taken for granted. That won't make a difference. So what will make a difference? What can I, or what can we do to ensure the future of creative kids? Well, I've thought of 2 simple things. We should educate and encourage. Really simple. What I mean by these 2 things is that any art is a skill. It can be taught, educated, learned, developed, and turned into something that you can personalize and make your own. That's the beauty of it. It's not a talent, it's a skill. Although there may be some element of talent in someone's artistic ability, it all comes down to practice. They say it takes 10,000 hours to master a skill, which is about 6 to 10 years. And you can see it. You can see that the best artists are those that have devoted their time to their skill. What we must do is we must educate others on how artistic ability can be learned by anyone. Whether you were born with a paintbrush in your hand or you decided to start at the ripe age of 57, you could theoretically master an art. But this leads me to encouragement. Devoting 6 to 10 years of your life to one single thing that might not even end up working out doesn't sound like the best time. In fact, it can be risky, especially since classes and equipment can be so expensive. However, it doesn't have to be that way. Many working artists are self-taught and have honed their skill on their own. Sure, classes can speed up the process, but it's not impossible to do it by yourself. However, for this to work, we must take art beyond the stage of making macaroni portraits with glitter and glue, as cute as they are. Picasso said it himself. Every child is an artist. The problem is to remain an artist once they grow up. In fact, this discouragement is seen everywhere. A BBC survey shows that 9 in 10 schools had cut back on lesson time, staff, or facilities in at least one creative subject. Of the schools responding, 4 in 10 were spending less money on facilities, and 3 out of 10 had reduced timetable lessons. Sure, English, math, science, all those are really important, but this just screams discouragement to me, and this discouragement is dangerous. Every art student has felt it, and I felt it too. There was a time when I wanted to be a lawyer, or a nurse, or a flight attendant. The thought of pursuing the arts had crossed my mind so many times, but I had given up on the idea. I was convinced that I wouldn't succeed. I was convinced that I'd become the starving artist. In fact, the looming thought of failure had basically dimmed my passion for art. Until I had recently seen an animated film in theater for the very first time. Now let me tell you, the animation in this film, it was legendary. There was a combination between 2D and 3D animation. Everything was so fluid and vibrant, and tears genuinely came to my eyes when I saw how brilliantly the characters moved. If I hadn't seen that film, I don't think I'd be giving this talk right now. Actually, I had recently attended Middle East Film and Comic Con, where I participated in the Artist Alley and sold some of my own artwork. I was definitely one of the younger people there, and it was an intimidating environment, but I was able to profit off of my own artwork. It took hours of research, and I even used the things from my IB business management class to my advantage. But I was successful, despite seeing my own artwork as mediocre. I was successful despite all the competition around me, and it really showed me that I could have a sustainable career in the arts. The thing is, I believe we're taking artists for granted. So we should become more aware of our surroundings. Look at the things you enjoy every day, ranging from the book you read before going to bed, your favorite song, or that pretty building across the street. All those things are created by an artist. Imagine how boring, lifeless, and dull our daily lives would be without art. We wouldn't be able to survive it. So leaving this talk, I hope you've been educated and encouraged. And even if the arts aren't for you, I hope you educate and encourage someone else. Every art student will appreciate it. And together we can end the stigma of the snobby art student and the starving artist. Thank you.